All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. In this video, I'm going to talk about improving your beat making skills. Now, again, I might have said this in an earlier video, but one of my number one things is that nobody can stop you from making great beats. Nobody can stop you from getting really good at beats. So it doesn't matter where you are or how trash your beats are right now. You know, it's almost like the more trash your beats are, the better, because you have a lot more room for improvement. So try to focus on parts that focus on the parts that you're good at, bring them out, but also focus on improving the parts that you're not good at. So for example, I wasn't always good at mixing in the mastering process. So I learned and I read a lot of books and things like that about mixing and mastering. We have a book if you guys want to check it out, slimegreenbeats.com, but on mixing and beat making. But figure out what parts you need help with. Maybe it's your melodies you really want to work on, playing piano better or things like that. There's a lot of resources for learning how to play better melodies and piano, things like that. So always be trying to improve, but I also want to say don't get into the loop of trying to make beats like somebody else. Just focus on just the fundamentals and kind of have your own creativity and flair to it. That's also kind of how you develop your own signature sound. I think one of the easiest ways to develop your own signature sound is by not sampling. If you don't sample melodies, especially, everything that you make is going to be original, and you're just going to have your own signature sound. You're going to sound unlike anybody else because it's almost impossible not to. You can also, just use things that you love using. For example, I like using reverb, so I use reverb on a lot of things, and it kind of gives me a signature kind of ambient type of sound. You can study top producers for inspiration. Hold on a second. You can study other top producers for inspiration. Although, like I said, stay in your lane, but definitely study them. But like I said, don't try to completely emulate them. But, you can study some of the techniques they use, maybe use them for your own. Just keep the path going forward. Common mistakes and how to fix them. Well, I think a common mistake is, there's really not too many. I think one common mistake is giving up. That's usually what separates people that are successful and those who aren't, and not having enough determination. That's really all that happens. And definitely read. Take some time to get books and read them on the subject, because I think that's helped me grow. I wouldn't say that's helped me grow the most, but it's definitely been a great tool to tighten up parts that I would have never figured out otherwise. So definitely get books. Common mistakes, making sure you don't clip, I think, is a big one. So you're not having this above 0 dB, the overall sound. Hold up. Let's take out the vocals here. Yeah, not having that there, and I think not understanding the signal flow, how the sound processes through FL Studio. Like I said, it goes down like that. And I think maybe not changing samples. If you do use a melody sample, maybe not doing anything to the melody sample. I think you should, because otherwise, from a copyright perspective, that'll probably happen, and then you'll also just sound exactly like some other beat. But you almost can't make too many mistakes beat making, because as long as you're making the beat, you're kind of doing the right thing. Expanding your sound library. So this is an important key, and this is an important key. Basically, by expanding your sound library, eventually, as you keep making beats, you're going to keep saving and earning money and things like that. Whether it's making beats or not making beats, you're just going to eventually have money to invest, and you're going to want to do that. And, it takes time, but eventually you'll get better VSTs and things like that. So for example, Analog Lab V is I have an analog MIDI, which is a really good MIDI. Nexus is like a popular, paid plugin that's good. And there's some paid ones that you have to pay a little bit extra in FL. Yada yada yada. So for example, Shakura is a good one. There's a lot of really good VSTs already here, but and then of course drum kits. So like you're gonna want some like nice drum kits, and I'll show you guys how to add them to FL real quick. But basically, you're gonna want some nice drum kits. I have a lot of these. Some of these I got for free. A lot of them are paid. Like the decap drums at Knock. This is a really good pack. Beat Butches is nice. And then like whatever artist, producer, or whatever you like, see if they have that beat. OG Parker's in here, my old classmate. Marco Polo I like. So I have like producers that I like, and I think their drums sound good. I got their kits, paid for them. Again, some of these are like $50 to like $30 to $50. I didn't buy all these at once. I bought these over the course of like my entire career. So yeah, like just try to expand your sounds, buy nice sounds. It also, like when you buy these sounds and you get these nice sounds, it kind of gives you a new rush when you're making beats. And then the last thing I want to talk about is standalone instruments. So I'm a big believer in learning standalone instruments. So for example, like the piano, I think is a big obvious one. Guitar, I think bass guitar, if you struggle with bass and using bass and making bass patterns, I think understanding bass guitar and how it's used in a lot of classic music will fix your problem. Like I am pretty decent with bass guitar. That's been the biggest fix for me. That's where I struggled the most. Once I started, hold on a second. Yeah, so sorry about that. Okay, so freaking the standalone instruments, they can drastically help you. And not to mention, you'll feel more like a musician. So I would almost say, like, don't just be a beat maker. Kind of expand your game a little bit too. Like that, it not only it kind of comes back to you. Like I'll play a little bit of guitar. I'm getting kind of better at guitar. I might make some beats with guitar on FL Studio, whether I'm playing it actually or I'm using a guitar sound. I just am more familiar with that type of a sound. And I understand its usage. Like I said, especially with bass guitar for me. Maybe drums is something you need help with. Get you a drum kit. And, purchase these things and have it in your house or wherever you frequent the most and get those reps, basically. And that will make you much better at music producing, because this is music production, which is like multiple instruments. As you see, like in a beat, there's like melodies, there's keys, there's drums, there's bass. Like it's a lot of different instruments, so it's good to understand like how to use these instruments. And that's really it for improving beat making skills. Just like I said, to recap, I'd say the biggest things and the most fundamental things are, for me, it's just understanding instruments, understanding standalone instruments. I think reading on the subject really helps. I think even more so than watching sometimes. Well, no, about the same. Watching helps a lot, especially for like more technical things. Reading helps you kind of understand more general concepts, I think. And standalone instruments will kind of give you like that creativity and confidence and understanding when you're making beats. That's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one.